Hello, Joy Tribe. What is going on? Happy Wednesday. We are live at the Joy Villa show. And today's a very special show because we're going to talk about making America healthy again. Okay. And my curls are popping. Can we just get an amen? Excuse the background. It just is what it is. I'm in a different room today, but we're actually moving in our house. Jeremy and I are moving, and it's been a little bit hectic amidst everything. And I'm going to Virginia tomorrow, actually, to be with my friend Andre Soriano. He is doing an incredible event. I talked about it on my last, not my last live, but I did talk about it on my Veterans Day post. So there's tickets you can get. It's a charity concert, charity event. I'm going to be singing the national anthem and wearing a surprise dress. Yes. So today we are talking all about making America healthy again. And I have a very special guest, and his name is Chef Micah Skye. So he's a friend of my husband's. He is a believer. He is all about organic, healthy, natural foods. He's actually in Hawaii, and he is joining us today. So in about 30 seconds, I'm going to introduce him to you guys. I'm really, really excited because we're going to talk about making America healthy again, diet-wise. Like, what toxins can we, get rid of in our day-to-day life? What can we eat to make ourselves healthier? What can we do? You guys know I launched Joy Villa Fitness. Actually been in the works for 10 years. I had the Fit and Sexy Vegan. It's now Joy Villa Fitness, and we are changing the lives of people inside and out. So before I introduce Micah, I want to show you guys 221 BC kombucha. This is what I'm drinking today in my American cup. It's the Pledge of Allegiance. We love America up in here on the Joy Villa show. We be loving America. It's been officially 2 weeks. Trump has been in office, and we are, you know what? I have to say something. Trump lied, because we're not sick of winning. We are not sick of winning. So I'm going to read some comments before I bring Micah up. Well, the music does not sound like cats getting run over by a lawnmower. Appreciate that. I know there was an intro music that we did have that did sound like that. Matt Mittens is a member of the Joy Tribe Inner Circle. JCL is our moderator on YouTube and Joy Tribe Inner Circle member. Tighten it up, y'all. Getting here. It's about that time again. Exactly. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, we already got some questions for our special guest, so I'll wait to put that up until we have him up there. Dan Strikes is in the house. Hello, Joy. You guys know when you watch the weekly show, if you guys don't know, singer, songwriter, fitness coach, Joy Villa, that's me. And I go live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you guys can be a part of the show by commenting. And if you guys want guests, as you often do, then comment who you want to see. Micah is going to be on by popular demand, and I'm so excited to have him up. He's my brother in Christ and an incredible chef and powerhouse. So we will be taking questions, and if you guys want to be interactive, make sure you let me know where you're watching from, because that's always fun. And yeah, so we're going to bring our guest up. If you guys don't have any questions yet, but get your questions ready to rock and roll with Trump. Yes. Are you moving to a different city? Somewhere else in Ocala. Yep. Oh, making America healthy again, as in Dr. Eric Berg. Started that 2.5 years ago. Doing good, need to do good. Exactly. I love Dr. Berg. Love Dr. Berg. Okay, so here we go. Mr. Micah Skye, adding him to the page. Hi, Micah. Welcome to the show.
Hey. Yeah, nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Gosh, this is so exciting to have you on the show. So, Micah, I called you Chef Micah because you're a chef, right?
Apparently so, yes, by trade, among other things, but yeah.
I love it. I mean, that's kind of an understatement. I mean, you're the founder of Mandala Living Foods. You have a restaurant that's flourishing, that's helping people survive and live, helping people thrive, not just survive. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do? And then we're gonna jump into some making America healthy again stuff. But tell us about your cookbook that you just launched, which is incredible. It's changing lives.
Yeah. So, well, the intention was always to create identifiable foods that are healthy for people, because so much we have an association to healthy food tasting healthy. And what does tasting healthy mean? Probably to most people, it means tasting not as good as the foods that they're used to, the identifiable foods that there are. So I was a traditionally trained chef in French, American bistro, and Pacific Northwest, and then became vegetarian for a period of time, almost 10 years. And I saw from a healthier food perspective and the plant-based perspective, a lot of food that I could tell was healthy, but didn't really taste that great. So that was where the fusion came for me of bringing a lot of the gourmet culinary aspects of flavor profiles to using healthier substances and resources than the things that have been making America unhealthy for decades. And so that was where the inspiration came in, and my obsession to, create a cheesecake that tastes like cheesecake. It just doesn't have processed dairy in it. So I myself, like most people, can't really digest dairy. It's a very small amount of us that can actually digest dairy, primarily because we don't produce an enzyme called lactase, which breaks down the lactose.
Yep.
So
don't know that.
love, yeah. And I love ice cream. I love cheese. I love these different things, but they were concepts, and the things that they're traditionally made of were not digestible for me. So that was, on a personal level, that was an inspiration for me to create alternatives that didn't kind of taste like it, but actually really mirrored it in a way where I felt the same satisfaction and enjoyment, but then felt better afterwards, which is kind of the second agenda of re-educating people on substance over taste. We only taste things, we only taste things for a couple seconds. Really, if you think about it, when you chew something, especially if you chew fast, you're chewing it for a few seconds and now it's in you.
What did they say? They say a moment on the lips, forever on the hips.
That's it. And that's something that I think people don't understand, just because I've noticed one of the foundations of not having a healthy America is that we're very undereducated in how our body works, on how our metabolism, how we...
We had a little bit of a glitch there. I don't know, Micah, can you still see us? But what he was saying is so important, being able to have healthy foods that taste good. So we'll just wait until kind of his Wi-Fi gets back on. He's all the way from Hawaii. I saw some liberals say, I saw one liberal that was going viral. This guy is like, oh, if Trump wins, Trump won. So I'm moving, guys. I'm moving out of the country. I'm going to Hawaii. I'm like, who wants to tell him that Hawaii is America? Like, I'm moving out of America. Anyways, but we have Chef Micah Skye, incredible. Wait till the Wi-Fi gets back. He's going to join us. But basically, he launched this cookbook, a restaurant, a whole thing. He's a friend of the family. He's a friend of my husband's. And then we became friends. And I'm so excited that he's on the show, because we're talking about making America healthy again. So that's the thing. Once you guys... Mike is back. Hey, he's back. Can you hear us okay? He's on the camera. Oh, I love this. I love this angle even more, Micah. Yes.
There we go.
Yes, I love the angle even more. This is awesome.
Sorry about that. So, sorry, I thought maybe our signal could carry outside, but I guess not. So I'm closer to my router, so hopefully we won't have any signal distortion.
And I love this even more because I was telling them, the Joy Tribe, that we've got this, you have an amazing restaurant too. And now we get to see it. Oh my goodness. I was saying, you're a friend of the family, a friend of my husband's, and then my brother too now, because by marriage, his friends are my friends are his. So this is awesome. This is really cool. So let's get some comments from the audience. JCL says, Micah's pad looks cool. Not going to lie. Yes, absolutely. And Isaac just became my client. I'm so excited. Isaac Razande. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Isaac, but Isaac says, make America healthy again. So Isaac is one of my newest clients for Joy Villa Fitness, Joy Tribe. And if you would like to join me, I'm doing a special so that if you sign up, you get extra time, you'll get vitamins, everything's included for the Black Friday special. And I only have 7 more spots left for one-on-one coaching. So make sure you comment Black Friday if you're interested. So Isaac just joined and he says, Make America Healthy Again, watching from Boston. Yes. Yes. So let's see. From which island and city in Hawaii are you broadcasting from, Micah? JCL wants to know.
I'm on the island of Kauai. So it's the farthest island west that you can get. It's the farthest you can get west in America, actually. So
Wow.
Yeah, we're at the westernmost point.
Beautiful. Is it always sunny out there? I've actually never been to Hawaii, to any of the islands.
It's sunny, and it's also known as one.
Uh-oh. We got a little bit of a it's also known as the island of bad Wi-Fi.
It'll be rainy and then sunny minutes later. So it's yeah. Tropical. But we got a sunny day today.
That's awesome. It's super tropical.
And we have avocado that are, look at the size of these things. I mean,
those look like eggplants. Those are avocados.
As big as my head.
Ooh, show them off. That's crazy.
Right? These are 2 different species of avocados too. So it's very different. They're both the buttery kind, which are my favorite.
And then what's the difference between the two?
Well, with avocados, you have a range of a more watery meat, and then you have more of a fatty-based meat that's going to be more buttery, more oily. Those are going to be those good natural fats that the body wants, as opposed to the processed saturated fats, which aren't good for us.
Right. Okay. How exciting. Yep. So you how did you start cooking? And what made you, obviously you're lactose intolerant, you said, right? We talked about that. I'm also lactose intolerant as well. But what made you start saying, okay, not only do I want to make food for myself, but I want to help other people? Like, what kind of drove you to creating this, which is now an incredible restaurant, cookbook, the whole thing?
Definitely seeing, as I started studying biochemical nutrition, seeing the amount of preservatives, the amount of processing to food, and also learning that, 80% of your enzymes your body expects are to come from your food. And so when you cook your food, you cook all the enzymes out of your food. So that makes your pancreas have to work more, because your pancreas is your enzymatic reservoir. And so when you are eating all this cooked dead food, that's taxing your pancreas to have to develop more enzymes to break your food down. So it kind of doesn't make sense if you're eating food for energy and you have to use more energy to break the food down to give you energy. This is a flawed equation. So when we don't cook our food past 117 degrees, we keep all the enzymes in it, and so the food digests itself, which is actually a really amazing thing and what the body actually expects. So when it's not getting that, it's having to tax itself to break that food down. So even if you're eating cooked foods, eating more raw foods are going to help break down the cooked foods that you're eating.
Wow. Isn't that crazy? Because obviously America's starting to wake up and realize everything they've learned is a lie, right? Like in terms of foods, like we went to school and we had that thing called the food pyramid, right? And at the bottom was the grains, and then at the top were the fats, very tiny, very sparingly. I've learned as a holistic nutritionist myself, my body and many of the bodies of my clients run better on higher fats. So the fact that we have been told fats are bad, carbs should make up most of our, and it's not even like raw carbs. We're talking like processed, gluten-y things, and then people have gluten intolerances, and then you're taking pills. So we know that everything we've basically been taught is a lie about the food pyramid and what we should be eating. And it's interesting because when you mention raw food, I know, not for me in my household growing up, we ate a lot of raw foods, and I was on a raw food diet for over a year, and I flourished. I loved it. I now do a high raw, like as much raw as I can, but also cooked foods. But I realized too, most people were taught that raw food is hard to digest and bad for you, right? Have you heard that?
Yeah.
So what do you say when people say, but I thought raw food was bad for me? It's too hard. I can't digest it.
Yeah, and there is some truth to that. In fact, when we're looking at raw plants and vegetables, many of these vegetables have what's called lectins in them or
Mm-hmm.
oxalates, which
Mm-hmm.
actually compromise your metabolism from breaking the food down. So there is a significance to that. In fact, many of the foods that are vegetarian or vegetables are what's known to the body as agitators. So they actually do agitate the digestion. That's why you have to do things to prepare them and break down a lot of those lectins or those oxalates or those starches, and make them more digestible. So we do that through different forms of using different vinegars, massaging and stimulating and breaking down the cell walls, or cooking them at a low temperature in water. So for instance, instead of boiling the crap out of your broccoli, you could blanch your broccoli in hot water and turn the heat off right away and let that broccoli just sit in the hot water and let it soak and sit and blanch, and then drain it, and you're going to break down a lot of these more harder to digest starches and fibers that are in a lot of the plants. It's about one of the chapters in the book we call the meditation of preparation, and that there really is. This is one of the bigger things I've seen that's been lost, sadly, with the industrialization of food, is that we have handed over out of convenience, the preparation process for food to the industrialized food complex to do it
Mm,
for us. We've
right.
lost the relationship of making our own food, and so in doing that, these industrialized food companies have gone about and processed food on a massive level, and then to distribute it had to put more preservatives in it to keep it fresh to reach the masses. Back in the day, you would grow your
Ooh,
own food and you would make it yourself. You'd grow your own
yes.
potatoes, you'd make your own mashed potatoes. Then all of a sudden, no one wanted to do that anymore, and they introduced, oh, let's have mashed potatoes in a box. So they're going to make all these mashed potatoes, dehydrate them, put preservatives in them, and then you just add a little water and warm it up, and all of a sudden mashed potatoes. But it's
Yeah,
not
it's
at
like
all the same.
we traded health for convenience, didn't we?
And so it's up to us to take our power back, and
Amen.
actually, and that takes our own effort. That takes some effort and willing application of our willpower to go, actually, when I make my own food, it feels better. I put my own energy
Mhm.
into that food, and
Mhm.
that carries
Mhm.
a frequency and a vibration on a quantum level that's going to make me feel better. And it's testable. You can test it. And so
Absolutely.
we've gotten intimidated that making our food is like a hassle and it takes all this time and all of these things, but
No.
it really doesn't, and it's not as hard as you think that it is. I actually became a sourdough baker over the last
Ah,
3 years and really got deep into the sourdough, and I've had a culture I've been growing for the last 7 years, but I really kicked in over the last 3 years, I would say, to really
wow.
start exploring what it is. Because you talked about carbohydrates, we have slow burning carbs, which are a holistic food, and then we have fast burning carbs, which are the ones that spike the glycemic levels. So slow
Right.
burning carbs are actually a holistic food.
Mhm.
Sourdough is going to be a holistic food. It's a slow
Yeah,
burning
but it's
carb.
got the
Soaking your
enzyme
rice. If there's one thing I
too,
could tell
right?
everybody, they could start playing
It's got those
enzymes, and also the culture eats the gluten.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
then the culture eats the gluten, and it actually produces more protein, and it becomes heartier. It becomes a more holistic food. And
And I
if
gotta say,
sourdough is done
Micah,
properly, you could give it to a celiac.
I gotta say too, not to stop you because you're on a roll, but I being Italian heritage, so I'm Argentinian, I'm Italian, and I'm Black. And what we had every day in our house was sourdough bread. And one of the hardest things because I tried keto, I tried all the diets, right? And as a holistic nutritionist, I think like you, I'm like, all food is healthy, all food is useful, all food can be used for healing in the correct amounts and when prepared by hand. And I
Yeah,
love that put your own
yeah,
intention, own energy in the food. That's how God intended it. We are living creatures. We want living foods. That's why it's mandala living foods, right? We don't want to eat death. And people think, I think people get confused on what that means, all that stuff. We'll go into that later too, I think, to kind of clarify what you mean by living foods and is this for
yeah.
everybody, which I want to talk about your fabulous cookbook. But really, I have to say, growing up, and Joy Tribe, leave some comments if this is true for you guys. Growing up, we were allowed to eat bread. Bread was made healthier. Now I look at bread and it's got tons of, dough conditioners. My dad also taught me how to read a food label. They add sugar, they add dough conditioners, they add chemicals, right? Which RFK Jr., once he gets into the White House, is supposed to blow wide open. I think all this stuff should have huge warning labels like cigarettes on it. People don't know. They should have pictures of people with cancer and liver failure and all the things, heart disease. I think it should be gnarly on these packaged foods because they're not dumb, but people have been brainwashed. Just like you said, they've been conditioned to believe that preparing your food is a hassle. Raw food's not healthy. I don't know. It's too hard. It's overwhelming. Let me just microwave it. And we don't have microwaves in the house. Jeremy, he's very anti-microwave, my husband. So it's so
too.
good.
Yep. Same.
It's awesome. So
Same.
I
can't remember the last time I used a microwave.
It's so good too. And I had to say I was guilty of the microwave because I'm busy. I'm a busy woman. I'm like, let me just heat it up real quick. But when you see what it does, how it changes molecules and it kills your food, it's not worth it. It's not good. Let me just read a few of these comments from Joy Tribe, and then we're going to pick back up because you're saying some really good stuff. You're preaching, my brother. So Jesus saves, nothing is impossible, says, amen, by the way. God bless you, Joy. Oh, that's awesome. And Miriam says, hi, Joy, congratulations. I know it's a congratulations on my recent marriage. Thank you. JCL asks a question. Have you seen the documentaries Food Inc. and Super Size Me? I haven't, but I heard they are relevant to what you're saying. So that would be directed. First of all, I have seen those documentaries years ago. They're super informative. But Michael, what do you think? Have you seen them? What do you think about those?
I have, and they're a good kind of first peer into the industrialization of food and the impact that it's had on our lifestyle and our health and wellness. 100%. In fact, the Super Size Me guy just passed away recently. I don't know if you heard that. The guy who did the whole super size and deciding to eat McDonald's for whatever.
Yeah, every time
I
he
was like 45 or something like that. It's crazy.
He was 45 and he died. So the thing with Super Size Me was, if you guys don't know about it, is this was back in the day. I think I was a kid when this came out. It was huge. It was one of the first of its kind for docu-series that was kind of like reality almost. Like this is when reality TV and docu-series were becoming bigger. Now everybody's doing it, and we have influencers who catalog themselves eating and trying things. Nobody was doing this back in the day, right? There was no social media except for Facebook, which was for college kids. There was MySpace. And you had Super Size Me. This guy ate McDonald's every day for 30 days. I think it was 30 days. And when they asked him, do you want to supersize it? He would always say yes if they asked him. And he gained something like 50 pounds or something crazy in 30 days. His blood pressure went. So this was the first real look inside, like, oh, this junk food is actually affecting me physically, emotionally. Like, he really cataloged it. It was quite gritty, but I did not know he died. That's crazy. And then Food Inc. talks about the industrial complex. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. Go ahead, say that, Micah.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, no, I found that out a couple weeks ago, and I was like, whoa. And what a sacrifice that he made to make this film and try to bring more awareness to what we're talking about. And we're seeing like a preemptive strike now with this new movement to make America healthy again. And I think there's a doctor that's become kind of the face of the movement. Her name is Casey. I can't remember her last name. She was just on Bill Maher, and she actually had a liberal audience cheering out loud when she was addressing specifically the difference in our ranking in health to other countries, even third world countries. I think we're ranked 10th underneath third world countries for health, and identified that the average lifespan for a Western male is 73 years old. The average lifespan for a man in Japan is 83, 10 years less than a man who lives in Japan. It's disturbing to see. and that she addressed that really that the Harris campaign didn't really address anything to do with health like the Trump campaign did. And she felt that that was actually really significant in terms of the American people waking up and seeing that there's a problem and not really knowing how to deal with it or what strategies to use to actually deal with it. And so, and that's true. And that's where we would like to play a role because, you know, this same doctor, I can't remember her name, but she was on Bill Maher recently. If you guys want to check her out, she basically came forward and addressed that 99% of her patients on the operating table could have been healed with holistic foods. And that is a huge thing that they have been blowing out the awareness around. And so we're identifying these preservatives, we're identifying things called like polyunsaturated fatty acids, which really they call, the abbreviation is PUFAs. And what they really are is they're any type of oil that has been pressed and has sat for more than a week. So because your body doesn't know what to do with it doesn't know what to do with oils. And I'll give you an example. A tablespoon of sesame seed oil, how many sesame seeds would it take to make that tablespoon of, 1,000, 10,000? So when you take that sesame seed oil in your salad or in your noodles, your pasta, your stir fry, when your body eats it and it's processing and metabolizing, it's looking at the oil and going, whoa, did we just eat 10,000 sesame seeds? Where's the hull? Where's the shell? Where's the protein? Where's everything else? Because it's gauging that it has the oil, but it doesn't have the rest of the nutrients from it. And so what happens is your body doesn't know what to do with these oils, and so it dumps them into the gallbladder. The gallbladder is for breaking down fats and producing bile. And so that's why people are getting crazy gallbladder stones and stuff like that. Yeah, see, he died at 45, and he became a vegetarian after doing that film. Thank you for that.
Wow.
Yeah, so 45 old. Wow. Like who knows the damage that he did to himself for consuming that for even 30 days, right? I mean, Casey Means, that's her name. Casey Means. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, so my big thing is that we're bringing awareness to a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, and I want to say too,
Go ahead.
Micah, I want to say just on that point you made, which was so good, I want to bring up this from RFK Jr. that I posted to my page. Let's see if everyone can hear it. Let's watch this little short clip here. It's on my Instagram, and I think it's super relevant to what you just said. Let's see if everybody can see it. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Can you guys hear that? Probably not. Not yet. Give me just a second.
And most alarmingly, into the bodies their chickens innocently put into their bodies these days, and most alarmingly, into the bodies their children. And it's no coincidence that Americans die earlier than Canadians or Germans or Italians or Japanese or Koreans or Australians or most any other comparable country. And it wasn't always that way until the early 1990s. Our life expectancy was the same or better than other developed countries. Then suddenly, more and more Americans began suffering from chronic disease. This is what most Americans innocently put into their bodies these days, and most alarmingly, into the bodies of their children. And it's no coincidence that Americans die earlier than Canadians or Germans or Italians or Japanese or Koreans or Australians or most any other comparable country. And it wasn't always that way until the early 1990s. Our life expectancy was the same or better than other developed countries. Then suddenly, more and more Americans began suffering from chronic disease. This is what...
Yeah.
100%. And that it was in the, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just turning this off on my side.
It was in the 1990s.
Right, and this is what you were talking about. The doctor.
It was in the 1990s that we had. Yep, and it was in the 1990s that we had this big fat-free push. If you remember how everything was fat-free, let's go fat-free, and they told us all these natural fats were bad, and they started introducing these polyunsaturated fatty acids and these hydrogenated oils, the margarines, which, by the way, margarine itself was developed for the army, and it was developed so that they could come up with something that could last a long time when armies were they were on missions, they were out in the field, and they needed something that could last longer. But they did a test where they put a bowl of the margarine out, and they put a bowl of the margarine out and let to see if animals or flies or anything would eat it, and they wouldn't touch it. They wouldn't even come close to it. So interestingly enough, we had no ADD or ADHD pre the 1990s, and we had a whole generation going into the fat-free stuff, and all of a sudden come into the 2000s, here comes ADD, here comes ADHD. So there's a lot of things that are actually, they're tying back that this introduction of this fat-free movement into the diet that became a fad actually launched a lot of the genetic deterioration that is causing what we have today with ADD and ADHD. Same thing with the soy milk fad, right? Soy milk was introduced and everyone was like, oh, great. And then all of a sudden, all these companies invested millions in soybean production. And then we find out later it boosts the estrogen levels. And take a look at the average modern man today, who is now maybe not even drinking soy, but coming from the genetic lineages of people who did consume the soy. Yeah, and then you have the plasticines also with boosting.
We got soy boys.
Soy boys.
I exclude all soy from my clients' diets. I don't do any soy. I for years had soy, and I believe the soy hype. You know, when I was vegan, I was plant-based for 25 years. I'm now an omnivore, and I consumed a lot of soy, and by the grace of God, it did not damage my body. But we see those plant phytoestrogens do affect humans, and all of the soy companies, all about money because it's a very cheap crop to produce. And then they process it. I mean, if you're eating a soybean, it's very different. The body breaks it down very different, right? Than soy milk, which is a highly processed food. And when I was eating vegan, I was competing in bodybuilding. I was doing all kinds of stuff. I thought I was as healthy as I could be. And you know what? I was very healthy, more healthy than the modern person today. I didn't eat I'm not on psychotropic drugs or, don't drink a lot. So there's a lot of things I was doing healthy, but I was having so many processed foods. Processed veggie burgers, process this, process that. And you don't even realize you're eating this junk food, this Bill Gates run junk food. And a lot of it was the soy burgers, the Impossible burgers, which is all manipulated, highly processed. All of these things are not, they're not.
And that's also the thing is that's kind of the new, that's it. And that's becoming this new category that's there with base, the kind of leftist woke push for the plant-based, for the vegetarianism. It's not with holistic healthy foods. It's with these Impossible burgers. It's with these genetically modified premium patties. It's not, and they're pushing it as if it's a healthier alternative for the planet. But in actuality, if you look at the per square mile, what the vegetarian agricultural farming does to produce an Impossible burger, there's actually more animals that get killed per acre to clear those fields and farm those genetically modified soybeans.
That's what I heard. That's crazy.
Pea proteins. So if you are an animal lover, I'm just saying, I guess it depends on what animals you love, I guess, really, or what life you value, because actually, like, it's more life and animal death than it would be for agricultural farming for cows. So
exactly.
But this is the twisting that happens with it, and that's the sad thing about people being undereducated, and so that's where the knowledge is the power for us. We have to learn about these things. We have to understand it. I created this company because I see so many vegetarians that are malnourished, and anemia.
It's crazy. And I love the plant-based
They're not. They're just
lifestyle. I love
eating
vegetarian.
a
I
bunch
love
of brown
vegan.
rice, which you're reminding me to share with everybody. If you're going to eat rice, a very simple tip is soak your rice. Soak your rice for 2 to 3 days. You pour whatever amount of rice you want into a jar, fill it with water, let it soak, rinse it the next day.
We've got a little bit of
100%.
yeah.
So if you're
A
going
little
to eat
lag.
rice, soak your rice, rinse it once a day, and by the second or third day, drain it, rinse it completely, and throw it in the fridge. And anytime you want rice, scoop from that rice that you've pre-soaked.
Wow.
It turns the rice from a fast-burning carb that spikes the glycemic levels to a slow-burning carb holistic food. The Japanese get it.
Kidding. Yeah,
They
because
all
they
do that.
ferment everything, don't they? We lost Micah. We lost our chef, but he's going to jump back on. He's got a little bit of a rocky Wi-Fi situation. He is dropping some facts, Joy Tribe. Are you guys liking what you're watching? Do you love this? Do you love that I'm doing more health conscious stuff? You guys know I love to do this. I love to help you guys. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to read some comments. And when Micah gets back, we'll end with him talking about his cookbook and a place for you to purchase because it's great. So I'm going to read some of these comments. Yay. So we've got JCL says, yes, I'm loving it. I love that. Love that. As an animal lover and a conservative, considering that both conservation and conservatism have conserve in them. Exactly. We're animal lovers here. Exactly. It's so true. I love how leftist loons accuse RFK Jr. of being a science denier who gives misinformation about health when he's in better shape than more than half of them. I know the man is in fantastic shape. The proof is in the pudding. We're going to bring Micah back, and then we're going to end off in a few minutes. Micah, you're back. Welcome back to the Joy Villa Show. The Joy Tribe are loving what you're saying, by the way. You're absolutely just preaching, and everyone's loving it. That's all right. So Amy Thompson Jarboe
signals a little flux.
Is that for long grain or what type of rice? What type of rice do we soak? And can you repeat that again? Because there was some lag.
Rice. Yeah, so any type of rice you can soak, you can activate. It's not going to sprout like grains do, but it's going to absorb the water, and it starts a natural enzyme activated process to it. So I recommend 3 days, but at least 2 days. You soak it, you forget about it. So you take your rice, whatever you want for the week, you fill up a mason jar, fill it with water, put a little paper towel with a ring for the lid on top, you forget about it. You come the next morning before you go to work, and you rinse it, fill it back up with your distilled water or your filtered water, forget about it, come back the next day, give it a full rinse, it goes right into the fridge. Anytime you want to use rice, you go from that instead of the dry cupboard. So we took on this
Okay, I'm writing this down. So Micah's got a little Wi-Fi issues here. That's okay. We're gonna have to bring him back, I think, too. We'll just see when he can come back in. But basically, I took some notes, Joy Tribe, for you, because this is amazing. This is news to me. I did hear about somebody who froze their rice. I did see that online. So I'm always open for these things too. So he said any type of rice. Amy says, thank you. Yes. And so soak the rice in water. If you guys want to write this down, here's number one. Soak your rice in water. He said in a mason jar or any kind of jar, right? Rinse after 2 days, it sounds like, or every day you can rinse it. Or he said soak it a couple days, you can forget about it. I would probably wait 2 days, soak it, rinse it, put it in the fridge. So put that in the fridge. I probably put it in the fridge soaked in the fridge. That's how I would do it personally, because it saves counter space and I don't like things out. You know what I mean? So I put it in the fridge soaking in water, maybe rinse it every day or 2 days. Then keep it in the fridge. And from when you cook the rice, it's that rice. Well, it makes sense because don't we soak beans? If you're Latina like me, you grew up soaking beans. I think everybody soaks their beans, their frijoles. So that is super, super, super key information. And I have heard that you can take your rice, and then if we do Micah's way, he's a chef. Okay, Micah's back. I've heard if you take that rice, you could probably also freeze it, and that changes the molecules, and then cook it from there. I don't know if you can hear me, Micah. It's okay if you can't. It looks like he's still frozen. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Well, I wanna say you've been so absolutely amazing. Thank you, Micah, for being on the show, for being a part of the show. You've done incredible stuff, and you've said some really great facts. Oh, we got a little bit of a sound issue here. Oops. So we'll see if Micah can come back in, because I want him to tell you about his amazing cookbook. His name is Micah Skye. You guys check him out. He's amazing. He's a believer. He's a chef. He's a raw foodist. He's educated. I think he's a molecular nutritionist. I think he's smarter than me on that. And I love it. So, and he's found a way to, make foods living and delicious. And I love that he's distilled it into some very, doable things. So love the Joy Villa show. Al Mario Santea, we love you. Yes. This has been incredible. Very incredible. Micah, are you back? I think Micah's still bad. Oh, it's such a shame because we love having him on. We might just have to bring you back, Micah. I don't know if you can hear us, but the Wi-Fi out there might be not as strong. Awesome. Unmute your mic because your mic is muted. He's back. Oh, it's been a little bit shady, unfortunately. Mahalo. Okay, well, I hope Micah's going to watch this and all his friends and family. Thanks, Micah. Mahalo. I love it. Mahalo. Speaking about it, says Matt Mittens. Yes. I got to throw this comment up there again because we love that when you love it. You guys, this has been such an incredible show. I'm going to take a few more questions. I'm going to jump off here. I will be back. And if you guys want the special, I'm actually going to show you a little bit of some fitness because, you guys have been loving my recent videos on Instagram. So I want to show you guys, let's see if we can find, some of you guys are watching on Instagram, by the way. So if you're watching on Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're watching on Facebook, we've got everybody watching on Facebook. They're watching on YouTube. And we figured out a way to watch it on Instagram as well. Yes. Super excited for all the things Make America Healthy Again. I'm just so excited that Trump's in office. I wanted to show you guys this video that you guys really liked. Let's see, which one was it that everybody was looking at? Well, first of all, the Black Friday sale is going amazing. Okay. The Black Friday sale is popping off. We've only got 7 more spots. So I got to show you guys this because it's mind blowing. So this is the Black Friday sale. Excited. Exactly. Goddess Joy. Oh, John, fitness, hope, pizza in my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say too. Oh, Joy, you're back after 2020. I was worried about you. I adore you. Thank you, John. Thank you. Well, God brought me through a whole journey. God brought me through a whole beautiful journey. So I have to say I'm super grateful, excited. Awesome. Oh, Micah's back in there in the back room. So we're going to bring up Micah in just a second. Stay there, Micah. I want to show everybody my Black Friday sale for coaching. It's a sale. For limited time, you can take advantage of this special DM me Black Friday. That means you can also comment here on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're watching from. If you sign up for 4 months, you're going to get 4 weeks free. If you sign up for 3 months, you get 6 weeks free. Sign up for 9 months, you get 9 weeks free. 12 months, 12 weeks free, but that's not all. You also get my free recipe book, How to Fit Alcohol into Your Diet, because it's the holidays. Sign up for 6 months and you get a free healthy air fryer or a crock pot if you prefer. Sign up for 12 months. This is 12 months of coaching, one-on-one tailored nutrition programming, one-on-one tailored coaching plans. If you qualify, because we're going to do a little interview process. And yes, you will interview with me. Okay. For limited time only. I'm going to interview you one-on-one. So you get to meet me too, which is awesome. I love meeting you guys. So if you sign up for 12 months, you get a free Apple Watch or Oura Ring. Guys, come on. Those are like $200. Or you can get the Google equivalent. Free detox wellness vitamin kit. That's if you sign up for anything for the Black Friday special, any of these packages, and you get the free detox wellness vitamin kit, especially if you've gotten the shot. This will help you because it helps get rid of spike proteins. It's from the Wellness Company. Love those guys. It's worth $150. So real results, our clients are getting over 50 transformed clients. These are just a few of them. These are real client results. Okay. I mean, we build booties up in this house. Look at these ladies with the booties. We have gentlemen too. It's just the women are really, I wanted to show the gains. 40 pounds down. This is Tabitha. You guys know Tabitha. She's sweet, amazing. She looks even better now. She's 56. Okay. Two days a week she works out and follows my plan. Real client results. You can screenshot this to record it, the program. Everybody loves it. It's just incredible. And you do not have to give up your dinners out, your holiday feast, the occasional cocktail. So if you DM me Black Friday, this is me. I lost 20 pounds. Okay. I've gone from skinny fat to super fit to, a fitness freak. It's okay. I'm not a freak, but to bloating up because I was eating too much of the wrong thing. Like we were talking about with Micah, a lot of processed foods, right? This is when I was eating a lot of processed foods. I was going through a divorce. I did not know what to eat, even though I had all this knowledge. So I had to change and spearhead my change without hating my body. It wasn't about denying myself foods. And when I changed that mentality, guys, everything changed for me. So I can help you guys do the same. So I lost 20 pounds of fat down, gain strength, gain muscle, prioritizing protein, still eating whole healthy foods with the occasional, junk food here and there, because I believe in moderation is key. And it's not about a fad diet. It's about health. And if you want to learn more, DM me Black Friday. I'm going to send you some more information. And if you've got a friend or, your spouse, it's also fun. You can share this with them too. So make sure you tell your friends and family. It's only until Black Friday. Okay, guys. So it's very important. I'm going to bring up Micah and then we're going to jump off here. Oh, let me read some comments. Girl, you're banging, sister. When are you going to release season 2 of your podcast, Joy? Just wondering. It's happening next year, 2025. I'm releasing season 2 of the Joy Villa podcast. And Micah, I'm going to bring Micah up. Micah's going to have to come on the podcast. This is the live show. Micah, you're going to have to come on the podcast. And then we can figure out. Yes, we can deep dive. So which will be incredible. Okay, so Micah, I want you to tell everybody about your cookbook. Where can they find you? Where can they follow you? People are loving it.
So finally got our Wi-Fi dialed. This is actually our kombucha bar. We started a brewery alongside the cafe, so you can see a slew of taps here. We're doing the first double fermented kombucha. So the difference between
it's gonna be better than this one, I'm sure. I drink kombucha every day. I want to try yours.
So in kombucha, there's something called carboxylic acid, and that is kind of like the bread, how they used to make all bread with sourdough, and then with the industrialization of food, they noticed they could produce more bread if they didn't wait for it to ferment and do that. They skipped that whole process. Whoa. So they started adding external yeast so they could get the production levels up. But the quality, of course, went down, and then more gluten started to come into the breads. And then they started to add more gluten because they still wanted that squishy effect that you get from the sourdough, but they didn't want to wait in their production time, mainly for money. And so, let me turn this way. So basically, with kombucha, it's the same. If you don't double ferment, what happens is you still have carboxylic acid and acetic acid in it, which is most kombuchas you'll taste, they kind of have a little bit of that tinge of that kind of zingy kind of vinegariness. And for many of many of us that like them, we're cool with it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, it's the reason that they don't like kombucha is because they don't like that. And the reason why is that's not supposed to be there. When it's double fermented properly, what happens is there's no carboxylic acid, there's no acetic acid, so it's more like a live soda. So like we have a live root beer. I can kind of see if I can turn this little paddle here. So we have a live root beer right here that tastes like root beer. We have an old world cola that's caffeine free that tastes like cola. Our
Micah, can I just come out to Kauai and
please? I told Jeremy we've been trying to get you guys to come out here.
We're coming.
You can just hit on every one of these line of taps here. We can just do a tasting
like right underneath. I'm just gonna be like,
yeah.
Ah.
I do that.
How do you not get high on your own supply out there? I would.
Well, actually, what's interesting is that's what happens. Is that when you double ferment, you get double the probiotics. You get even less of the caffeine and almost no sugar, because what happens is when we put it in the second stage of fermentation, we cut the oxygen off. And when we cut the oxygen off, when we give it a snack, it boosts the reproduction level of the probiotics. And so then they start going into overdrive and they carbonate naturally. So most kombuchas will actually have a little bit of CO2 infusion. Like they'll put the CO2 into it to make it bubbly. For ours, there's no CO2 infusion. It carbonates properly. And my favorite part is, because I'm a kombucha drinker, is you know how you'll drink a bottle and you're kind of like, oh, okay, that filled me up. That's the carboxylic and acetic acid. This stuff you can drink all day long. It sips like a tea. So it's
supposed to be a tea, like a mushroom tea, right? That's technically.
And this is how the Japanese or the Chinese and the Russians, where it has some of the oldest cultural usage for kombucha, was they would double ferment it. And it's a simple stage. So we're launching the first line of double fermented kombucha on the market. So we started this brewery here, and we just have our first order of bottles coming in. I'm super excited about. But in this book, it's basically like 5 books in one. It is an urban spice guide, which it was very important to me because people don't understand the power of herbs. So when you see here, for instance, with mustard seed, it's giving you the culinary and the medicinal profiles of mustard seed. So it's not only showing you how to work with it for flavor, it's showing you what the medicinal effects would be. For instance, mustard seed is a natural antiseptic. It's also a disinfectant. It helps. It's anti-inflammatory. It works as a stimulant, and it helps with skin conditions and if you happen to get a cold or a flu. So that's a neat way to start playing with mustard seed or incorporating it into dishes. So then we also put a superfood dictionary into the book, because superfoods are something that are very popular now and not enough people really know about them. For instance, the power of even some of the superfoods like blueberries are pretty common. You might not even think to know about the actual superfood qualities, but they do fit in the category. And then we have some more interesting ones, like for instance, let's see, I'll go with some like weirder, something more unique, like acai berries you hear about, but do you know the qualities of them? So, and then from there, we actually put in a way to actually brew your own kombucha. So there's a fermenting chapter. And then we also have a full superfood cookbook in here with over 200 images, everything from how to make a live ketchup to real mustard. Let's see, how to make desserts, how to make different proteins, how to make live pasta, pad thai, coffee cake. And I put my unbaked cake recipe in here. So basically, what is unbaked cake? We found a way to press nut pulp and coconut and psyllium husk to actually produce a moist, fluffy cake. I'm looking for a good picture of our cake. We actually make layer cakes. Let's see if I can find it. It's one of my favorite pictures. So there's over 200 images in here.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's been a labor of love to actually make this book and show you that you don't have to lose anything. All of our desserts are made sugar-free, gluten-free, and no processed fats or trans fats in them.
Oh my gosh, what do you use as a sweetener?
So we use anything from stevia, monk fruit, xylitol, I personally still use honey. A lot of the vegan community does not, but I'll tell you, it's you know, it's a really smart thing to try to find local honey to your area, because if you have any allergies for pollens, those bees process those pollens, and when you take that honey, it actually helps you build an immunity to those allergies, which most people
Wow, I
didn't.
didn't
Yeah.
not know
Yeah.
that.
So working with the bees is good, and plus there's a lot of really healthy beekeepers
Could
that
you
really
use,
support.
yeah, I love honey. We use honey in the house. We love it.
Yeah.
Enzymes. Could you use maple syrup? I've recently
Yes,
gotten into
that was the one I forgot to mention, was the maple
okay.
syrup. Was
Because I love monk
actually,
fruit. I use a lot of monk fruit, honey, and maple syrup in my sweets and treats. So that's awesome. Oh, I love this.
and then
Joy's
this is the
wife
other one.
is gonna love this. How can people get this cookbook, which is obviously more than a cookbook. This is a living foods manual. It's like a
It is.
whole,
That's very well put. That's actually one of the phrases that we call it, is the Living Foods Manual. You
I
can
didn't
go
know
to.
that. You didn't pay me to say that,
I
guys.
didn't, but we do, because I really put everything that every other book, when I was trying to get healthy and learn alternatives to make food. How do you do a stir fry? What
Yeah.
could I use an alternative to ground meat?
Mm.
All these books, they had missing pieces for me. Sometimes I found even the measurements were really off. So it was very disheartening to try to buy all the ingredients and make something, and it didn't turn out as good as the chef who I tried it in his restaurant. So I really
Yeah.
worked to make this book everything that every other book wasn't for me. And through that, we even put in a schedule for preparation.
Wow.
How to we give you a hydration chart, so you can see how to soak things, the different times to soak things for. And then we also put a schedule of, like you said, you're busy, you're working. So how can I plot out to make this food so that it's not an inconvenience to me in how I process it? So we actually created a schedule to show you that if you wanted to make tostadas yourself for your house, we make them out of corn and flaxseed, and you make a batch, let's say on a Monday, and as you go through the week and come around the next week and you have 3 tostadas left, you know that on that Monday, if you have a couple tostadas left, that you need to start your batch, get it into the dehydrator, so that by Wednesday, as you're finishing out that batch of tostadas, you have a whole other batch that's going to last you another couple
Oh
weeks.
my gosh, this is
So,
awesome. This is
and
so cool.
So
So
this
where
is how
can we find this
I
book?
tried to take everything that I knew and I figured out on my own and put it into a single book to help people as a guide to be more healthy in a way that was they could incorporate into their lifestyle, that was realistic and not overwhelming. So if
Yeah.
you guys go check out www.livingfoodscookbook.com, that is where we created a website for you to have access to this. It is on Amazon, but we put it on Amazon at an exorbitant price so that we could steer people over to the website that we put all our love and attention into. And we're trying to steer away from Amazon. We're trying to direct that energy over to the smaller businesses. And so I was blessed to have
Amazon takes a big cut, so they might as well just buy it directly. And I just put the address down below, Joy Tribe Living Foods Cookbook.com.
And there's a special right now where you can get the hardcover book and the digital copy of the book for a special deal. So, and then our team personally sends it out to you. We're working on, we have a small team doing it. It's not like a larger publisher or corporation that's doing this. So it's, we're independent. And I'm blessed to say that in the last year since we published it, it's gone out to over 50 countries. So, but my big thing is that I want it to get out to the world more, and just equally so, Mandala Living Foods, we're really focused on being a vehicle for this Make America Healthy Again movement, because we can talk about and identify eating whole foods, but we need like a healthy McDonald's. We need like a healthy franchise that's going to launch in the US, that you're going to get to come to one of our places and have our nachos made with coconut Velveeta like cheese and beans made from what's called taro, which is an alternative to beans, so it's more digestible, and our walnut caramel. And you're trying these nachos and you're going, this tastes like the best nachos I've ever had. Wait, I can learn to make this? And that's the thing, is I put over 200 recipes of all of our food at Mandala Living Foods into this book right here, which some of my investors thought was not a good idea that I give all of my recipes away. But
You gave
that's
all
where,
your recipes. You gave all the secrets away, but that's amazing. That's how you show the love, you know?
yeah, that's it.
And that
And
creates
also show the integrity that,
the
like,
integrity
my
is
goal is
high.
to help people be healthier. It's not,
Yes.
that's it.
Yes. The integrity is high. You guys check out livingfoodscookbook.com. Chef Micah Skye, he's amazing. Somebody asked a question. Matt Mitten says they lose the beneficiary bacteria skipping the yeast fermentation process. Why am I not surprised? That was about the kombucha, right?
Yeah.
And he has a follow-up question. So this ingredient you speak of, they're inhibitors, or do they need to be cofactors to help it absorb and benefit downstream from that? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Is this in regards to the kombucha or
Yeah,
the
I think this is in
sourdough?
regards to the kombucha. He left it a few minutes ago when you were talking
So
about that.
yeah, so basically when you're not double fermenting, the pH balance is off. So the kombucha is going to be more acidic. There's going to be a higher yeast factor and a lower probiotic factor. And when we double ferment, we actually push the culture to produce more probiotics, and it doesn't get a chance to produce that carboxylic acid and the acidic acid, which is what expands in the gut. And why actually they'll tell you sometimes that kombucha doesn't support with candida and stuff is because there is too much yeast in it, because it's similar to that junk food bread thing. And I've noticed that that's really what they do to any of the healthy trends we see. They always create like a junk food version of it. There was a larger, I won't say the company, but there was a larger kombucha company that we all know that he sold it to, I believe, Coca-Cola, and they bought that from him, and then he ended up buying it back from, I'm not confirmed source, but from what I understand, every one of his flavors now is genetically modified kombucha except for the original flavor. That's what I heard. So
are you talking about what we think you're talking about?
Probably 2 letters, yeah. So, so our goal is, again, to introduce the concept of double fermented kombucha. It tastes completely different. I love every day we have someone come to our kombucha bar and brewery who says, I hate kombucha, and I just give them a taste of our root beer, and they're like,
this call a flavor, I hate kombucha. Like, that would be you should have one flavor that's called, yes, or I would call the company that, but if it's already named, one flavor should be called I hate kombucha, and that should be your tastiest, smoothest flavor. And you're
that's like, brilliant.
This is for you. Because it's just like, what's it called? The water, the death water. I forgot what it's called. Although they did a Hispanic commercial, so I can't support them. But I liked them before that. But anyways, I like that anti-PR. And I think that if you had a kombucha flavor called I hate kombucha, people would love that, because they're like, what?
I'm gonna have to give you a cut on the marketing on that.
I'm gonna take 65%. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's a good ad.
Just give me that flavor for free for life. Yeah. I'll take it. It's a good ad.
Yes, 100%. Like, I hate kombucha. You won't after you try this, because you haven't really had real kombucha. And it's funny. There was a guy.
You'll love it or your money back. You could do something like that's what they used to do back in the day. Crazy. I got to read another comment here. Grant, my friend Grant Gannon, he says, MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, is the best campaign ever, and it is so needed. So true.
Yeah. 100%.
And he says, health in America is being driven to extinction. Let's change that. Exactly, Grant.
Yeah.
That's it. 100%. Matt says a lot of America has lost gut bacteria due to antibiotics and surgery. So this sounds like added value. Yeah,
it is. And on that, we're building, one of the ways that we're going to build the franchise is so much of our menu is utilizing the sacred coconut that we have here on these islands. And I'll tell you, there's a chapter in my book. It's kind of one of the controversial ones my publisher's always trying to get me to push, which is there's a lot of the next fad, like soy right now, is cashews. If you notice, there's cashew everything.
Yeah.
And so the thing about cashews is they actually are an extremely toxic nut. They're full of neurotoxins that have a similar makeup to poison ivy or poison oak.
What? And they're so delicious, though.
I know. And here's the crazy thing is that when they tell you that there's raw cashews, that's actually impossible, because raw cashews can kill you if you eat them. So all cashews have to be pasteurized. And so the thing is, raw cashews that you buy in the store, they're still pasteurized. They just have less pasteurization and they have more of those neurotoxins. And that's why, I don't know, for many of you, if you've tried any of those cream cheeses or cheesecakes, they might taste really good, but you'll be farting it up 10 minutes later. And that's because it's digestible. It's undigestible. That's the thing.
Oh my God. I actually did hear that and I tried to space it out because I love cashews. They're so creamy.
So our thing is we're not calling it out without a solution. We're saying that we here on the island of Kauai and in Hawaii, one of our most unprocessed resources is coconuts. And I'm going to throw a statistic out to you guys. We did research and we found out that over 100,000 coconuts go to waste a month here. A month.
What?
There's no processing facility here. So what we're doing is we're building the first processing facility for coconut. And we need to, because if I'm going to open a Mandala Living Foods in Austin or Los Angeles or San Diego or Portland, I need to be able to get the same coconut that we make our delicious menu with to all of those locations. And so we are building a coconut processing facility to ship upwards of 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of coconut to the mainland to start utilizing this natural resource that's going to waste.
My gosh. I love coconuts. Sony a day says Micah does body work as well.
She is right. I'm a neuromuscular specialist by trade and the founder of a neuromuscular system called NMRT, neuromuscular release therapy. And that was kind of, I've had a practice for 20 years, been in Beverly Hills, and I finally got tired of going there to see patients. And we put 2 films out, which you guys can check out at releasethemovie.com. 2 feature films came out in 2022 about my work and about the power of what we call the inner physician, which is this inner healing technology within our bodies. And it works when we're in what's called the parasympathetic nervous system. The problem is this world has wired all of us to the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. And just the same as if you were running from a bear, your body's not going to try to digest your food or detox your liver because it's putting all your energy to get away from that bear, because it's made the executive decision that if you get eaten by that bear, it's not going to matter about your liver being detoxed. So what happens is we're running in fight or flight all the time. And in doing that, our body doesn't get enough of a chance to be in the parasympathetic nervous system. And so there's a bunch of functions that go unchecked over our lives. And this is why we have little surprises where we'll be like, ooh, I have a cancer tumor, like as if you got struck by lightning. But the reality is cancer grows for 10 years before it's detectable in the body. And so normally if your system was running in parasympathetic, it would have caught that. But when we're going in fight or flight all the time, all of the functionality gets reduced to base functions. And so what happens is when we reset the nervous system using your body's own bioelectricity, kind of like when you hit your funny bone, we do a series of these releases through all these nerve junction points, kind of like hitting the wiring of the body. That activates the body into what's called parasympathetic, and the inner physician, as we call it, kicks in. Now, for those that do have faith in believe in the one true living God, I'm going to refer to the inner physician. We use that in the medical field, but really from a more biblical standpoint, it's the Holy Spirit within you. And that Holy Spirit can get activated through the nervous system, and it will fix anything that's wrong with you. I've had patients that are quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down. We got their arms working in one treatment.
My God.
I've seen everything from multiple sclerosis, MS, Parkinson's, muscular dystrophy be completely traversed. We have Parkinson's patients that are shaking for 35 years that are lying still on the table after we reset the nervous system. I've never seen anything that resetting the nervous system doesn't help. And so there's a way that you can do this work on yourself. If you check out Matrix Body Mechanics TV on YouTube, we have a lot of videos on there that show you how to do this work on yourself. And we're working on a self-treatment program that we're going to make public and I'm going to start touring and teaching it.
Please. Oh my gosh.
And the thing is that it's very intuitive. It's not as complex as I describe it to be. It's there's even a way to do it where it's like head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Like your
Wow.
body every night when you're laying in bed, your body's already trying to calm down. It's trying to relax, right?
Yeah.
So it's the perfect opportunity to work on yourself, to relax yourself into a deeper sleep state. And it's kind of like we got the memo about brushing our teeth, right? Our teeth collect
Yeah.
bacteria every day, they build up tartar, and then that tartar, if we don't brush it, turns to plaque. Well, your body has an accumulation of neurochemical residue. It's everything that you feel and everything that you do every day has a chemical imprint that collects. And your body expects you're just going to do something like this, just giving it a squeeze every day,
Mhm.
just squeezing that spongy tissue and flushing it. And unfortunately, this is another big, to me, conspiracy, not theory, in America, is the anti-touch movement. We are very anti-touch. Touch is either
Yes.
sexual or nothing at all. And
It's
so
so true.
we
And
have
after
a very,
2020, now it's like it's gross. Don't let
it
humans
got
touch each other.
accelerated with the pandemic.
Terrible.
It got, yeah, people got
And
even,
I have to say, I saw a study. I don't know the exact number, but men are touched a huge, considerably smaller number than women. Like
they
men are
do.
suffering lack of touch.
Why
Because
the
women
suicide
usually
rate.
love each other. Women and men usually are more, but a man to man is not very common, and a woman to man, like you said, because it's interpreted as sexual. It's awful. People
Yeah.
need touch. It's one of the most human things you can do.
And sadly, that's why I believe the suicide rate for men is much higher than it is for
It
women.
is much
Yeah,
higher. Men
I
are
was,
much
and that's
rougher.
what, the film, we went to like over 12 countries to see how
Wow.
touch is alienated in every
Is that
culture.
in releasethemovie.com?
Yeah.
Okay, releasethemovie.com. You guys, this is I'm just like blown away, Micah. We definitely have to have you come back, and we have to
I'd
do
love to.
even more in depth, because this is
Yeah.
incredible.
There's
I
a
got
lot
to
to
throw
it.
some comments. Yep, individual must be receptive to that for sure. This is great. People are loving this. Right. People need touch. We are social creatures. I am anhedonia bound right here. It sucks because isolation. Do you know what that means? Anhedonia?
Is that a place, I think? Maybe an isolated place?
Wow, Matt, what does that mean? But he says it's because of isolation. Yeah, I do think that's why the suicide rate is so high for men. And we have such a pandemic of touch. We have a pandemic of dating relationships. People don't know how to be natural, they don't know how to be human. And that's in America mainly, the westernized America. Because if you go
Yeah.
to Italy, men kiss men, right? On the
Yeah.
cheek.
Yep.
I kissed my father, my Italian dad, Italian Argentinian, Latin culture. You kiss each other on the lips, like you shower together. We all used to get into we used to go into like springs together, like the whole family. I remember as a kid, we used to all jump in the shower together. Like it was just common, because it's like, ew, seeing a naked body, ew, we can't have that nudity. What? It's the most natural thing. We're born naked. We're going to die naked. Clothes are more unnatural. I mean,
when I was in Germany, there was a man. Very similar. I did basically in the film, I kind of go all over on the street, kind of like David Blaine, but instead of doing magic tricks, I go up and I release somebody's arm, and I have them compared to the other one, and it works completely different by releasing all the nerves. And so then you watch them kind of trip out, and then a little crowd forms. And so that's kind of what I did all over Europe. So I ended up doing a demo on the owner of one of those beer gardens. And, it was a family run place. So they invited us in to have a big dinner. And one of the men there, I was describing the concept of touch. And he said, "Oh, so it's like medicine touch." That's the phrase he used. And it was like, not touch for comfort or intimacy, but touch specifically to release your body's tissue and the wear and tear on it. And I thought that was a really beautiful phrase, medicine touch, and a good way for us to identify touch with the intent just to release what we're collecting. Because what happens is our body gets compressed. Yeah, there's the website. Yep. So this became a docuseries, and actually there's 2 films. The third one comes out next year, and we end up in Iceland. And we have a tour guide, which you'll meet in the first film. She has been through far more than any of us have. She lost her arm and her scalp in a farming accident when she was like 10 or 11 years old. And she's an example of just the most concentrated amount of trauma that you could take on. There she is. Her name's Molly, and she is one of the most magic human beings and she became like our family. She was our tour guide, and we ended up going to Iceland. This is Iceland right here, where we ended up going to the place where her farming accident actually happened, on the land where it happened. And then, you know, she has transcended all of her trauma, and but she still has panic attacks in her nervous system. Her nervous system is still holding the panic attacks from this farming accident from 40 years prior. And so her goal was that we were able to hopefully release her nervous system so she didn't get those panic attacks in her body. And so the whole film, a docuseries, completes with us working on her in Iceland and helping to release her trauma. And I'm happy to say that she doesn't have those panic attacks anymore after doing this work.
Wow.
So, yep.
This is
and
awesome, Micah. This is
there's a really fun animation that I did in the film that shows basically how the inner physician works in the body, and that we are a mobile battery basically, and that when we collect this gunk in our nervous system, it compromises how our circuitry works, and so stuff stops firing properly. And this has been my life journey for so long that gave me the foundational capital to start Mandala Living Foods. You know, I live by the trinity of God's intention through Christ, which is heal the people, feed the people, teach the people. So all my companies, I tried to circulate around that. This was a little boy right here, one of the most powerful sessions, who had a specific condition that basically left him trapped in his nervous system that I got to work on. And for the first time, he laid still on the table. His mother's standing there with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Matt Mitten said too, anhedonia is
anhedonia, right? Okay, sorry. Yeah, now I understand.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I did not
depression.
know that. Yeah. So anhedonia is you can't enjoy anything because I guess destitute.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'll give you an example. Like conditions of depression like this, these are all byproducts of us carrying the weight of our world that never should have been carried past when it happened, whether it was mommy daddy issues from trauma. Here's a good example. This chart actually is a really good example of it. What happens is we are recording all of this trauma in our bodies, and it was never supposed to be there. It was supposed to be released. And so it's supposed to be released. Like many cultures, like in the East, found ways to do practices around breath work, around stretching. In the Western culture, we don't really have that the same way. Yeah. And so what's happened is an accumulation of physical trauma has collected into both the collective of consciousness within our whole collective. And by the way, I really
TV, media.
All of it. And through that is really, it's by design, guys. It's really by design that they have done this. They want to keep us away from natural remedies. They want to alienate us around touch, because make no mistake, the globalists of this world are also alchemists. They understand that if they bombard our psyche with trauma, with fear programming, and our body every day releases chemicals of fear. This is that quadriplegic patient. You can see him moving his arms. For the first time. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that neat?
That is beautiful.
Isn't that powerful? Yeah. So through that accumulation of trauma, this woman had multiple sclerosis, and she couldn't do this. She couldn't do this with her arms. So I've never seen anything resetting the nervous system doesn't help and doesn't release. And primarily it's because all of those chemicals you collect, they start overwhelming your nervous system and your consciousness. And so various forms of depression, of neurological imbalances and disorders are because we are in a vehicle that is not being operated properly. And so naturally over time, it's going to start shorting out, and we're going to be exposed to a lot of compromise that would never, ever exist, along with the fear programming, obviously, we're looking at, right?
Exactly. It's so true.
Yeah.
Micah, this is incredible. Obviously, this film is incredible. Your cookbook is incredible. If you guys want to check it out, you guys can go on releasethemovie.com. Don't forget, unfortunately, we got to jump off here because but this is using livingfoodscookbook.com. Micah, Skye, you are wonderful. I'm so glad you joined the live stream. This has been amazing.
course.
We're going to have you back.
I look forward to it.
Make sure you show Micah some love. Go find him. Shout out your Instagram. I think it's at Micah Skye, right?
Yep, at Micah Skye. You can check me out there, and at Mandala Living Foods as well. You can check us out there. And matrixbodymechanics.com is the website for neuromuscular release therapy if anyone wants to see more about it. And we will have some upcoming tours. And the beautiful thing is I have a facility here, and I see patients and have patients come out here for transformational retreats all the time. Yeah.
No.
Yep.
This is beautiful. Well, I'm coming to get the everything. Jeremy and I are going to have to come see you. Everything, brother. This has been amazing. God bless you. This is wonderful. Joy Tribe, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The fans love it. They said thanks for the live. Micah is a mad goat, which is greatest of all time. Hell yeah. Thank you, Joy Tribe. Thank you, Micah. Love you. Bless you, brother. Cannot wait to have him back. This has been an amazing, amazing live stream. Make sure you guys check out his cookbook, and I will see you guys next week in the next live stream. joyvilla.com. You guys know where to find me. Make sure you take advantage of all the health benefits you can. Leave Black Friday down below to be invited for coaching. And if anything you need that was mentioned on the show, DM me and I'll send you the links. And go follow Micah on all his live streams and everything, all his social media. Love you, Joy Tribe. Love you. We'll see you next time. Awesome. We're making America healthy again. Love you guys. You're created to do amazing things. You're amazing. You're wonderful. You're spiritual creatures who are created by God, the Most High, to do beautiful things. So don't ever doubt that. All right. All right. Bye, Joy Tribe. See you next.